Let's speak to Kamelia Entekabifard, who's the editor-in-chief of the Independent Persian and joins us from New York. Kamelia, thank you very much indeed for your time. So we're now into the fourth week of protests. Is something changing in terms of the nature of the protests?
Thank you for your welcoming and good evening to you and the viewers. Iranians are discussed as much as the regime tried to cover up the crimes committed against of the civilians. The public gets more angry and demanded and appears more at the street. And as you said today at the university, they told the president to get lost. This is very brave of them. They were chanting such things that they understand. The next step of the regime is the arrest, torture, and made death. One of the reasons we saw the public has a fresh fuel today to this huge protest comes from the medical examiner that claimed that Mahsa Amini has died over some previous sickness and cause of her previous tumor she had, which it was basically lie. None of those people killed in the protest has been examined by the medical examiners trusted by their families, and the report hasn't been convinced the public for what would happen to them. For example, in Zahedan, over than 80 people killed, but easily they can label them to say they were separatists or they were criminals, gangs members. But in the big cities like Tehran, Isfahan, and Mashhad, it's very hard to claim that they are the gang members. Then there is a new phenomenon introduced to public. They call these protesters has a suicide syndrome. I'm not kidding. Two of these young fellow Iranian girls, Sarina Ismailzadeh and Nika Shah Karami, has told that the girls dropped themselves from the high-rising buildings. They don't want to take the responsibilities, and as much as the names and the ages, especially the young ages of the people killed in the protests revealed to the public, people get more angry and upset.
Kamelia, there are so many issues involved here after Mahsa's death. I mean, there's the death itself. Her father says he wasn't able to see the autopsy report. He says they wouldn't let her see his daughter's whole body because he was suspicious. And he says that there were some bruise marks on her feet, but he couldn't see the rest of her body because it was wrapped in a cloth. Her brother, Mahsa's brother, was there, and eyewitnesses told him that she was beaten up. And then there's one other very strange anomaly. When the father said, "Can I see the body cam footage of the police officers who arrested her?" they said, "Sorry, the batteries weren't working in those body cam footages." So that's just regarding Mahsa's death. But there's the other issue of what her death is leading to. Is it actually leading to anything, or is it just anger, which is eventually going to disappear?
More angers and more cover up by the regime. Even it's interesting to tell you, most of those surveillance camera footages released in Iranian TV cannot be trusted. The reporters in Iran and outside Iran, like my own team members, has been found lots of mistakes and error at these surveillance cameras footages, which looks like the regime has been setting that up. From Mahsa's event in the police custody, which is still, we are not sure if this person they claim for is Mahsa, because suddenly she fell down on the ground, to these other young Iranian 16 and 17 years old. They were claimed they walked with their own footsteps inside of unknown and unmarked building and committed suicide. All of them, by the investigator, found some errors of this surveillance camera. That's why Mahsa's family also don't believe the autopsy. They were all forced to not see the body. The body has been stolen from their families, including Mahsa, tried to bury them overnight in secret places. But as long as I understand, as I know, Mahsa is from Kurdistan, and the court's people resisted the day her body brought to her city, Saqqez, not let the security forces to steal her body, and the family had the opportunity to look at the bruises and the marks and etc. But for the other protesters who killed, their body handed over when the family agreed to have this forced confession on the TV. to claim that their daughters hasn't been killed in the protest. This is so demonized. This is something discussed the public. When we understand, they understand how these people killed, and as long as not a medical examiner to do the autopsy, that this autopsy has been accepted by public, the public wouldn't accept their claims. And I would like to say Iranians are taking further steps than just only talking about the autopsy and the cause of death of this beautiful lady or the others one. They were asking for the regime change, the way Iranian humiliated in the past 43 years, the way the regime treated them is no longer accepted by the Iranians.
It's going to be really, really fascinating to see how this turns out, because it does seem as if it might well continue for another amount of time anyway, Camelia. And hopefully
Indeed.
we'll get you back on to get some more analysis. But for the moment, Camelia Entekafibad, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.